Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. So we are in the sixth chapter, a very interesting chapter, Strength of Emotion. We discussed it earlier. One of the most relatable and practical chapter because it's talking about something very, very obviously misunderstood in the society. Emotions is highlighted in the society as something very positive, in the sense we believe that a person, if he's not showing emotions, then there's something wrong. In a relationship, in any factor, any way we conduct ourselves, there's always a highlight of you have to be having a burst of emotions. You see in cricket is going on. You see different types of character, different types of personalities. We have Virat Kohli. Shireen, I don't know if you are aware of him. He is a highly emotional person, very deep emotion, but amazing guy, dedicated, devoted, talented. He is the best cricketer. All that is there, but there's a lot of emotions in the way he conducts himself. Versus, there's another character, personality called Dhoni, or even now we have Sanju Samson. So they also have emotions, but they are more balanced in the way they show it in the world, and they're when they're playing cricket. So in sports, especially, the emotion comes out. You know a person's character when he is actually in the midst of sports, how he conducts himself. Because tendency is to lose yourself. That's how it happens. So strength of emotion is saying that our emotions can become our weakness if we are not in control of it. And the same emotion can become our strength in the personality when we are in control of it. So the whole concept is about being in control, which we talk about the intellect, which you have discussed earlier. The intellect should control the mind. That's the technical part of it, but that's what they're saying. So emotions, when it is let go by itself, it has no direction, no dimension. Mind by itself can become highly destructive, highly impulsive, and that's what we see in the society, in the world. People become very, very emotional, very, very highly disturbed, highly agitated. Like, one instance, they lose themselves. That kind of personality, there is no control, there's no sense of control. And not only that, it is accepted in the society as normal. People say it's okay, it's fine. They agree with it. And they are not even people who are going through it, perhaps don't even recognize that there's something wrong in that way of conducting ourselves. As we discussed last time, a cultured person will never lose himself. They are better way of putting across. You can never be loud to put across your message point. It can be a parent, it can be anybody for that matter. The way to put it across, yes, there can be situation, it can be in business and companies. You may have to put across a point strongly, but there's smarter way of doing it. Don't have to lose yourself, don't have to be abusive, don't have to be vulgar, don't have to pull the people find the weakness of other person, and that's how we put it across. I'll take you are weak in that area, so I I touched upon that to hurt you. That's not the way to conduct ourselves. That's not a human way of doing it. It's very, very cheap way of conducting ourselves. It agitates the other person, agitates yourself. End of the day, the if the focus being to get the work done, it's not achieved because in that agitation, the work is compromised. So that's not the way to conduct ourselves. As a human being, it can be done in a better way, in a smarter way. And that is where we are in control of our emotions. Nothing wrong with our emotions. And that's for the first topic, emotion intellection, where it says that, the in people believe that when we become intellectual, you lose emotion, which is not so. It only means that you don't have those surface emotions. You have deep emotions, which doesn't need an expression. I love you, love me, all that between partners, between, uh, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, all that going on is not necessary. A genuine feeling is not expressed. How much do I love my mother? She's not in the in the group today, so I can tell her. You know, how can I say how much I love my mother? It can't be expressed. I can't tell her, that this much I love you. If I tell, which means I don't. So I have that concern, I have the care, but it is not expressed, not necessary to express. So whatever has to be done, you can do it from your side. But wherever the expression has to be discreet. That's what it means. So emotion and intellection, it has to go together. Emotion should never drive our action. Action should always be driven by our intellect. So intellect doesn't mean that we compromise on emotion. It only means we go deeper in our emotions. Then is the facets of emotion, which is the topic we are in. We discussed about love, a very, very beautiful emotion of love, which is universal. Attachment is the opposite of love, which is preferential. I have an affection, I have that identification, but it is conditional. I love you. I have that concern for you. I have that thought for you because you cater to me at the material, physical, emotional, intellectual level. At any level of the personality, I'm being catered. So, because of that, I have that affection for the other person. That is not love. That is it's a business. You give me in one form, I give you in some other form. It's so that is not purity of emotion. Pure love is a genuine feeling of identification. It is not conditional. Love plus selfishness is attachment. Moment we are attached, the problem is we lose our object of attachment. It can be physically, it can be mentally. So it is important that we are understand this the seriousness how we conduct ourselves and keep that purity of the affection, the integrity of that affection, so that the other person is comfortable. So they don't feel overwhelmed with that emotion. When there's attachment, there is so much, it's so overwhelming, it's so aggressive, person becomes so possessive. It is not comfortable for the other person. I mean, you may have the same affection, but you don't want to be so controlled, as it were. So that is attachment, possessiveness, which is the extension of attachment. But when there's pure love, you genuinely care for the person, you want them to grow, you want to help them, you want to be available for them in whatever way possible. It can be family, it can be partners, even otherwise, wherever you go, you have that purity of affection. You may express it discreetly based on your reasoning, how much the other person can take. It's completely subjective. The other emotion we did was kindness. It is again a beautiful emotion of a thought for others, a thought for, it can be who we see around us. We need to be kind in our gesture, how we conduct ourselves. It can be the workers around us, the labor class, or it can be the the drivers or the maid or the poor people in the roadside, or it can be anybody for that matter. How we conduct ourselves, that genuine consideration that all are one. You know, we have this in India is so popular or available of we have resources, and the human resources we have so much. We find everywhere we can do Zomato or Blinkit, and we have people around coming, just dropping in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, can you imagine what they go through just to drop in 10 minutes? But they're coming in the hot sun, in the rain, they just come and help us, right? They're serving us. What, how do we conduct ourselves? How do we look into it? A gesture of kindness, just a thanks, even if you don't want to give something. There is a family who actually keeps all the cold drinks in the summertime, like buttermilk or whatever they keep in the fridge, and whoever comes, they just give them, just as a gesture of, it's a nice thought. It's not a mechanical way we are talking about. We are talking about a genuine feeling. They're coming all the way and they're helping us, they're serving us. Some way or the other, we show that gratitude towards them. That's kindness. That's thought for others. So it is again an aspect of unselfishness. When we are selfish, self-centered, I only matter. Everything is around me. They are there to serve me. Versus when become unselfish, the thought is on others. How can I help? What can I do? Automatically, the gesture is extended in different ways. That is kindness. One of the ways is kindness. So it's a beautiful emotion. Again, it should not become a weakness. When you are kind, the workers, generally what happens is they take it for granted. Especially, you start doing, helping them in different ways, they start utilizing it, and not their fault. I mean, they are at a particular level, so you have to handle it smartly. You can't become as a doormat. Whatever they say, you accept, agree. Not like that. That's not kindness. You have a genuine thought for them, but at the same time, you understand their need and you help them where they require help. So it's not, I don't help them so that they can keep on doing what they're doing for me. Example, one of the gesture Swamiji often does is all the workers in the academy we have, almost 35 to 40 permanent workers, and the rest are temporary workers. So he took up initiative of making houses for them. In villages they don't have a proper sanitation, proper houses, and all the rest. So we are non-profit charitable organization. So what we do is we actually raise fund, we raise money, and we look for how the land for them, and we build a house for them, make sure that everything is like properly designed and even carpeted for them, and we give it to them, right? The paper is in their name, their family name, so that they don't feel that they owe us anything, to owe the academy anything. They don't have to keep serving us because they have received a house or whatever. They get medical benefits, they get whatever, education benefit. It is not for that. They have served the academy for so many years, they deserved it. They got it. Thereafter, there is no conditions applied. They may wish to, they may not wish, they are completely on their own. That is what we mean by, you may have the thought, but how you conduct yourself. It is not to make them feel, keep repeating, what I'm doing, how much I've given you. Not like that. At the same time, the other extreme is you don't even do anything. Both extremes are wrong. You recognize them, you understand their nature. Labor class will have a different way of functioning. You conduct yourself in a particular way, and you help them wherever required. Don't lose yourself. That is strength of emotion. The other one we did was pity, which is here a very, very um, tricky emotion because it is an impulse of sorrow for their misfortune. You feel pity for others. Poor thing. Why is it happening to them? Why they have to go through it? Now, that thought is negative. That thought is weakness. A human weakness. Some people spend their life trying to please others. Consider it cruel to break another's heart. They yield to weak pity and torture themselves. So that mindset where we feel that other person shouldn't have, I can't hurt the other person should not go through this, why this is happening, it is a weakness in the personality. And why it is a weakness? Because he explains it stems from the ignorance of the general plan of nature. When we question the creation, you're doubting God. You know, what is devotion to God? What is devotion to that reality, whatever we want to call it as, is surrender, is understanding. He knows what he's doing. Prayer is not beggary. We discussed earlier. In fact, it's here in charity. We are doing that. Today's topic is charity. People all over the world pray for success or progress, wealth or health. Prayer and worship has reduced to licensed beggary. Prayer is not beggary. It's not asking for favor from God. It's not going to a temple or a church or a mosque. Firstly, God is not locked in a temple or a church or a mosque. I go one day in wherever I feel like, and rest of my life, whatever I want to do, I do. There's nothing to do with spirituality in that sense. That is not prayer. That is not worship in any sense. So, prayer is that recognition of the benevolence we have received every moment of our life. We are being benefited. The day I'm born, the heart is working, blood circulation is taken care of, the mother's milk was available, the oxygen supply is being maintained, the weather is maintained outside, inside, temperature is maintained inside, 99.2, 99.3 is a problem, 98.5, it is okay. Point we are talking about, imagine, and somebody is maintaining it throughout our life. How it is happening? So that awareness of the benevolence we have received every moment of our life is called prayer, is called worship. Being grateful of what we have received. That is prayer. So you need not ask for anything. You have everything. You have to only to realize that. See, in this case of pity, that understanding, when we doubt something, why that other person does not have it, poor thing, what we are saying in effect is we are doubting that reality. And that's what he's saying. You're ignorant of the general plan of nature. In other words, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. A person, it sounds very harsh, person who's living in the slum, he deserves to be in the slum. He asked for it, he did whatever for that, and he is there. Right? So, what is interesting is accordingly we conduct ourselves. So, what we are happy about it, we make fun of them, we look down on them. No, that is not what they're saying. We understand that yes, it is not a mistake of God that they are being given something, they're living without the basic facilities. They have functioned in a particular way, they got it. But the point is, what can I do? If I can contribute, if I can help in any way possible, I should do it. That is not a problem. But that feeling of I do it because they are less uh, privileged, that thought itself, when we say less privileged, we mean to say that we are more privileged. Not so. God is not biased to us and not, he's giving more to us and less to other person. It's not like that. We get what we deserve. Each one is functioning based on their actions, they get the effect of it. That general understanding of life, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. It is a law of action, the law of karma. When a pitiable scene confronts you, let your intellect assess it and control your surface emotion. Do not let your emotion cloud your intellectual judgment. Thus must you act with discretion. Your action then befits what the situation demands. So then what happens is, in that pity, we lose ourselves. And then we don't know what we're doing. We get emotional, highly emotional. That's what he says. Let the intellect access it, assess the situation. Okay, this is what is the situation. What can be done? Can something be achieved? Let me do whatever can be done from my side. That attitude in life is how we conduct in terms of pity. And next, which we started last week, was charity, a beautiful emotion. A charitable disposition enriches life. You know, this concept of charitable disposition, it is not just material giving he's referring to. It is at all level of our personality, physical, emotional, intellectual, at all level of our personality, we can be charitable. Somebody asks you for your number. What's your number? 8669974522. What's your number? 7674452. You know, not charitable enough to communicate, make sure that he understands. The purpose of the communication is that he wants my number, he wants to connect, I want to give him, right? I need not give if I don't want to, that's okay. But if I want to give, there's a way to do it, right? Being charitable at the physical level. Somebody is doing something, be helpful. You see you're taking a walk, and you in the street, and you see all these vendors, they have all this kela, what do you call, vehicle they're pushing, physically they're pushing. You just see, help them out. What's the big deal about it? Being charitable, being helpful at the physical level. You're not giving anything, you're not losing anything in it. Or at the emotional level, somebody is sharing emotions. Listen, you don't have to give your opinion, you don't have to give back. He doesn't want you to reply. It is just there's emotional burst. Just receive it, leave it there. Why to analyze, why to judge the person? Being charitable at the emotional level, being charitable at the intellectual level would be the way we communicate. If you want to communicate an idea, a concept, be charitable. Try to understand the problem. And then you help. You need not help. But if you want to help, you help them in whatever way they can understand. There has to be a communication. It can't be I talk in a different language, I talk French, he understands Hindi, and there is a communication going on. It doesn't work like that. Then I'm not communicating. At the intellectual level, if I want to help, it has to be in the same page. We have to be in the same language. We have to talk in the same way. So being charitable at all level of our personality is not just physically doing it. Even physical gift, how do we give? It's not, oh my God, this fellow again has come. I have to now give him. Huh? Not like that. A genuine willingness to give, wherever, whatever, however. That attitude in life is being spiritual, being thoughtful of others. So you then develop the spirit of charity to share, to give. The story we did last time, he gave, he forgave. He was a picture of selflessness with no likes and dislikes, no desire and expectation. So it's actually combined. There are two stories here. This is coming from the Bible. He gave, he forgave, where this person, he was a very pious man. He kept on moving around and helping the society and the world community. Wherever he was going, he was to help. So the story goes that the angel came to him and asked, what would you like to have? What boon would you need? So he said, I don't want anything. He said, no, no, you have to ask for a boon. We have come here, we have to give you a boon. I said, okay, if you want me to give a boon, if you want to give me a boon, give me, help me that I should not remember my action. All sacrificial and charitable action he performs, he says that I should not remember my actions. So that's where it came from. He gave, he forgave. He forgot about it. There's nothing to make a deal of it. I did this, this, this. Today I did this many charity. Tomorrow I did this. That's not giving. That's not sharing. When we are accounting for it, when we are have a agenda in it, when we have a motive in it, it's not sharing. It has to be natural. Remember, we discussed about Khalil Gibran. He's wrote a book called as The Prophet. In that, there is a chapter on giving. And in that, he talks about true giving. He says, if you feel good in giving, it's not giving. If you feel bad in giving, if it pinches you, he says, it's not giving. He says you should not feel good, you should not feel bad. It should be a natural way. So he puts in different ways in the poetry. And one of the aspect he says, like a myrtle gives fragrance in the air, that is charity, he says. Myrtle is a shrub in the wilderness, it comes. So it's not looking for anyone. In other words, like a rose gives fragrance, like a nightingale sings. It's not looking for anybody. So charity or giving should be a natural way of functioning. You don't have to account for it. Whatever our actions should be charitable, service oriented, automatically is charitable, which is unselfish. All these are synonyms, all these are connected ideas, right? So then we came to this is example of a lives of an. So here the idea, this après vous, which we discussed, that attitude, life is to give. That's what we were talking about in the movie The Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. He writes a book. Book is big, but the movie is easier to understand. And so this is what the wisdom he's talking about. Remember, life is to give, not to take. So Victor Hugo in novel Les Miserables highlights the benefaction that charity brings to a donee. In an exceptional charity of a priest to a convict, the convict escaped from prison, sought shelter for a night. The priest obliged and gave him supper and a bed to sleep. The convict silently accepted the good man's hospitality. We discussed in last class, just briefly going through it. So a person is a convict and is a nice person. He was in prison for a wrong reason, and he just came out of the prison. He ran away from the prison, and then he came across this priest, and he was so noble, and he never counted his what all he gave. He was available to help. So the convict silently accepted the good man's hospitality of food and sleep, a place to rest. In the middle of the night, he decamped with the silver plates of the house. The next morning, he was brought in by the police, caught him. The priest feigned surprised and embarrassed the policeman. Why did you harass him? I gifted the plates to him last night. The policeman apologized and left. The convict was astounded. To crown it all, the priest picked up two solid silver candlestick stand from his desk and gave them to him, which with these resounding words of wisdom. Remember, life is to give, not to take. This is something which is we need to learn, we need to practice, we need to apply. Life is to give, not to take. The conflict took them and departed. Then he was transformed into a divine person. He becomes a symbol of service and sacrifice. Such would be the outcome of true charity. So he explains the charity has to be thoughtful. It can't be mechanical. It can't be an out of an emotional outburst. It can't be a weakness in the emotion. I want to do good for society. I want to do some social work. So I just keep on whatever feel like I just do, give. Not like that, but I genuinely want to understand. I see the need of other people, I understand it, and I do whatever best can be done from my side. It can be material, physical, emotional, intellectual, whatever way it be, but the attitude of service is what is back of it. That is what is important. Likewise, the donor is blessed with the effect of charity. Sacrifice is a synonym to success. So, charity for prosperity, as Swami Rama Tirtha proclaimed, the way to gain anything is to lose it. Another beautiful saying, Swami Rama Tirtha, self-realized master. So he says, the law is more you give, more you get. More you give unconditionally, more you get. More exponentially you get. Right? So you don't calculate in giving. So when you genuinely thoughtful and give, it comes back. That's a law of nature. So he says the way to gain anything is to lose it. If we do charity for prosperity, you lose it. It has agenda. You want some name, some fame, you feel good about it, then it's not charity. It's not genuinely helping the other person. You're not concerned. So the other person is not in the picture. It is my emotion which is being highlighted. I feel good, so I do it. I'm getting something out of it, so I do it. That is selfish. That is not, it can't be counted as charity. So more you crave for, the more it eludes you. Leave it alone, it follows you. Work dispassionately, the reward of work courts you. Another example he gives is of light. Physics, phenomena of color. A light has 7 colors. An object is bathed in the light of 7 colors, imprint upon it. When an object absorbs, takes it all 7, it appears as black. So when you see an object as black, it means it absorbs all the color. When you see it as white, it means it gives away the color. Whatever it takes, it loses. Whatever it keeps, it's lost. You have 7 colors. When you absorb all the color, you'd see black. Whatever you give away, that is the scene. So when the object absorbs, takes in all 7 color, it appears black. In effect, it loses all the color. It apparently losing the color because it has all the colors you absorbed inside, which is seen as black. Whereas when the object does not take any color, gives away the 7 colors, it appears white. When an object appears blue, it has actually given away blue. So whatever it gives, it has. That's the logic. So he says, in life, learn this lesson from nature. You gain what you give away, what you sacrifice, not what you take, aggrandize. We want to protect, preserve things, and with the belief that I will, if I don't preserve, don't protect it, I lose it. That he says that it's not so. Whatever you keep, you lose it. Whatever you give, you have. So Oliver Goldsmith says, where wealth accumulates, men decay. Develop the spirit of dispassion, renunciation, you turn pure divine, whereas aggrandize, amass wealth, you turn impure demonic. This is the law. So this interesting quotation, where wealth accumulates, men decay. He doesn't say wealthy men decay. He says, Where there's an accumulation of wealth, when there's a hoarding, when there's a collection, then it decays. So the attitude has to be to share with others. What is it that belongs to us? We come empty handed, we go empty handed, something we have collected from the world. So that attitude of giving back to the world, whatever we have taken, we give back. And it is not a favor to anybody. Nobody needs, the world can survive without us. So whatever we can in our own way, we do it. But it cannot be mechanical, it cannot be impulsive. It's so difficult it is to do charity, right? He's saying that you have to part with wealth. That's what he says. Where wealth accumulates, men decay. Now, parting with wealth can't be mechanical, can't be impulsive. It has to be discreet. I should know where I'm sharing, who I'm sharing with, what is he doing with it, to the extent possible. I can't go and put a spy and make sure that I know where all he's going. Not in that extent, but whatever extent possible, I make sure it's going in the right hand and it's going to be useful for the other person. So that attitude in life, that approach to wealth. Other thing is being possessive about wealth. Remember, we discussed earlier, possessiveness is a problem. Nothing wrong with wealth. But when we become possessive, we become possessed, meaning we get affected by it. Today is there, I'm happy. It's not there, I'm not happy. Profit and loss affects me, hits me, I'm hurt. Right? That is negative. So, in the case of charity, it has to be a natural gesture, how we conduct ourselves, without any agenda, without any calculation, but with a genuine concern, care, thought behind it. Understanding that where it is going, how it is going to be used, and the rest of it. Charity, therefore, is not merely an objective dispensation of wealth. Rather, it encompasses a subjective mental disposition to give, to serve, to sacrifice. Is an important point. It is not merely giving wealth, dispensing whatever wealth you have. That's not charity. He says a subjective mental disposition to give. You genuinely want to share. Your thought is always to serve, to give. You're looking for people to give. That attitude he's talking about, that is charity. Being socially conscious of others' needs in life. When such social consciousness prevails in the human race, there can be no poverty and no need for social work and social organizations. Very powerful point he puts across about social work and social consciousness. What the world needs is social consciousness, not social work. Why should Bill Gates come to India and make house for my maid, my servant? It's my responsibility. He's serving me. I should take care of him. I should do whatever I can do. Social work cannot solve the problem of poverty, cannot solve the problem in the society. It is the social consciousness, meaning if each one of us do what we ought to do, what we are obliged to do for others, if we are able to perform our obligations, there is no need for social work, somebody else coming in and helping. Each one, if they do support, that is the awareness we have of our responsibility, our obligation. That is social consciousness. And that spreads. How much can one person do? When Swamiji met Warren Buffett, he mentioned the same thing. He asked him that, he told him, mentioned that, whatever you guys are doing, it's not going to solve the problem. Of course, you guys are doing a good job, a very noble action, gesture to help, to do a lot of service in the society, but that's not a solution to the problem. One Warren Buffett is a dot in the whole. One Bill Gates, one person here and there, it's not going to solve. That is not the society what needs. It genuinely needs that social consciousness. So we need to develop that. It can be at the expense of social work. Both are required. Initially, yes, somebody told, sir, how is it possible? How do we integrate social consciousness, and how do we replace with social work? No, you can't. In as a first level, you can't remove social work. There has to be done. A lot has to be done, achieved, but it can be at the expense of social consciousness. In other words, we need to keep everyone aware of their responsibility. Each one has a duty and responsibility to help each other around us. How do we conduct ourselves as a citizen of the country, wherever we see the society we stay in, the place we are, if we are traveling somewhere, how do we conduct ourselves? Everything we are obliged to do that, take care of. Why should a worker come and clear my garbage? I'm traveling in public transport. I'm supposed to take care of it. Why should somebody else be responsible for it? So we need to be socially conscious and do whatever we can do. But the world is starved of this vital consciousness. Instead, people are self centered and resort to selfish means of exploiting the passively innocent masses, resulting in disparity of wealth and poverty everywhere. Not realizing the intrinsic cause of poverty, well intended philanthropists, stung by the emotional ecstasies, resort to bout of social service without a clue of role of social consciousness in the society. We see so much of disparity, especially in India. So sad to see, in the cities, there's a huge disparity between the have and the have-nots. That's not the right way of conducting ourselves. Whatever we can do, that's what he's referring to, where wealth accumulates, men decay. They are agitated, they're disturbed. So it is our obligation to give back to the society, to the world, in whatever way possible. Social service is indeed a noble trait, but not at the expense of developing social consciousness among people. Every human being must be educated in the spirit of social consciousness, to empathize, serve, share, harmonize with the fellow beings. The concept of social consciousness ought to be introduced at the level of primary schools for children to grow with this noble trait. The families practice it in their homes from the very beginning. Charity begins at home. When the spirit of social consciousness prevails in the community, there will be no need for social services. So we discussed, it can't be replaced immediately, but the way forward, it has to be integrated in the system, in the society. Each one should have that attitude of service and sacrifice for others. That is unselfishness, that is evolution, that is progress in the society and as a human being. Philanthropists, with all their social work, can only create a pocket of relief while the perennial problem of poverty persists. The problems should be addressed through the mass education and dissemination of social consciousness to individuals. Vedanta, the ancient philosophy of India, educates and inculcates the spirit of social consciousness in human beings that should remove the curse of poverty on them. There is abundance of wealth in the world. People have only to drop their self-centeredness and recognize the need of others. So people don't want to identify with others, and that's what we see. There's people are selfish and self-centered. I take care of only my family, my children. Charity is only, it begins at home. Here it stays at home. That's the problem. So it has to extend from home to others. What can be done? How can we do it? Each one starts thinking in those lines. There will be a beautiful place to live in. The next topic is effect of manifestation. If you remember, we discussed, this is the concept we discussed earlier about the mind and intellect. The theorem we have discussed earlier Our body merely performs action, and just briefly going through it. Mind has emotions, intellect has thinking, logic, understanding. So, what Vedanta is saying is intellect should guide your action. So, here in this topic is highlighting the effect of manifestation, meaning if we manifest the emotion impulsively, unconsciously, indiscriminately, without the guidance of the intellect, what will be the effect of it? That's what he is talking about. A feeling directed to a higher ideal is noble. Your attitude to serve and sacrifice is indeed commendable. They are fine emotions which embellish your personality. Nevertheless, Vedanta cautions you against the adverse effect of manifesting them indiscriminately. However chaste the emotion be, it would be unwise to express it without intellectual direction. And an intelligent manifestation of even a good emotion may bring about a negative result. For example, you may love all creatures alike, appreciate and admire their individual beauty and grandeur, yet you cannot express your feelings for them in the same way. You may pick up a kitten and caress it, but would not do the same to the serpent. So, how do you express yourself? How do you conduct yourself? That's the story. That's the point. Here, there's a very interesting parable he gives. So, what happens is there is a it's a small one. We read it. The parable explains the effect of unwise expression of emotion. A serpent lived in the outskirts of a village. It was a menace to the villager. It attacked and poisoned many of them. One day, a sage passed that way, and the serpent charged out of its hideout. It was about to strike. The sage stood unperturbed. The assailant recognized a divine person and begged his pardon. The good man advised it not to be hateful and cruel and create so much disharmony. The serpent repented its aggression and vowed to live peacefully. So the serpent was living and it was being very destructive, very aggressive to the villagers, and it was a menace to the society. So it was about to attack a sage, and the sage saw, gave him advice that it should not be so hurtful, so harmful, so aggressive to others. So uh, this serpent heard it. Okay. The days later, the sage returned the same way and found a creature lacerated with wounds. He inquired as to the cause of its pathetic state. The serpent replied ungrudgingly, "Sir, I merely followed your wise counsel, expressed my love to one and all. The villagers pelted me with stones and brought me to this condition." The wise man rejoined, "I am sorry I had to convey. I have not conveyed my message properly. I did ask you to live in harmony with others, but not to express your love indiscriminately. Without a feeling of hatred, you should have hissed and driven them away." So, how do we conduct ourselves? We should not be taken for granted. You become nice. You are a noble person. You have a lot of kindness. Have a lot of love, emotion, lovely feelings you carry with you. But it should not be taken for granted. People don't care about you. They don't. They mock you on the way you conduct yourself. They hate you. They harm you. What sort of a way we conduct? This is not the way to work. Vedanta makes you smart. Intellect makes you aggressively good. So how do we conduct ourselves? We understand what is good, what is bad. Based on our reasoning, we conduct ourselves. It can be love, it can be charity, it can be kindness, all that is there, but the expression is discreet. You know where to give, how much to give, whom to give, where not to give. That is our reasoning, very subjective. That is not hatred. By not, there are times by not giving, you're giving. Right? You're driving down and you see a beggar, a child begging, And by not giving anything, you're actually helping. You don't know what the child is going to do. Maybe he gets into drugs, or we don't know really. So you can give something like chocolate or some food item instead of giving him money. If you don't have money, you don't give him. By not giving, you're giving. So it's not about mechanically or impulsively, emotionally getting into the frame, oh my God, I have to take care of it. That kind of mindset, that's negative. So it is with life, you must learn to manifest your inner feelings with discretion, with caution. Your intellect must ever be alert to direct your emotions into proper channel. That is intelligent living. Oh, there's a mistake there. Okay. You gain what you give away. So social work and social consciousness. And the next slide was effects of manifestation, the art of manifesting noble emotion. So it requires intellectual direction, feeling for a high and ideal noble. So you can have that ideal, you can have that goal, a higher purpose, all that is good. Noble emotions are not a problem. Unwise expression can bring negative results. That's what he's saying. And then we discussed about the kitten and the snake. And for partnership, how do we cater? If it is indiscriminate, it can become bitter. And the sage, the serpent example, and the conclusion. Intelligent living is learn to manifest the inner feelings with discretion, channelize emotions effectively through the intellect. So filter everything with the intellect. That's what you say. Right? So that's effect of manifestation. Next topic is root of emotion. We may be starting with it. We will try and see we can do half of it. So what is the source of emotion? What is the root of emotion? Where is emotion coming from? So emotion springs from the flow of thoughts. Your thought flow towards the world constantly. The thought flow arises from the sense of unfulfillment, incompleteness, imperfection felt within you. This notion of lacuna, void, is caused by the ignorance of yourself. Your real self within is supreme absolute. Rare one realizes the self, attains the state of absolute fulfillment. Okay, so what he's saying, starting from the top. So what he's saying is, thought flow to the world is called desires. We'll come to that. That's the next point. Okay. Why does the thought go to the world? Because you feel a sense of incompleteness within. Example, if I'm hungry, thought goes to food to fulfill that void felt within me. Right? If I'm already full, I ate enough, will I still be thinking of food? Don't say yes. Then we will not think. Even if we think, we will say not now at least. Indian, we don't know to say no. We say not now, later. So that attitude in life. So the thought goes to the world to fulfill the void felt within. Right? Thought flow to the world is called as desires. Now he's saying from the ultimate reality, there is no void within. You are complete, you are absolute, you are that reality, you are that divine being, you are the self. There is no incompleteness in you. You are that absolute being. Not recognizing your real identity, not understanding your real state, ignorance of that real identity. Because of that ignorance, there is a incompleteness felt within, which is an imaginary incompleteness. Actually, you are not. So that creates a void, an imaginary void, and the thought goes to the world to fulfill the void. It's technical, but with the example of that food, it can be easier to understand. When you feel a void within you, the thought goes to the food to fulfill that void within. Right? They are saying from the absolute level that void is imaginary. There is no void. In fact, that's there in the even that giving I was mentioning. In there also, he says the same concept, same idea. Is what one interesting way. If I have to say a lie, there will be so many versions of it, right? One person I say something, one person I have to say something, I have to cover up somewhere, I have to say something different. All that is to be done. When it is truth, there are no different versions of it. Truth is always same. Similarly, these masters, they're talking about the reality. Can be Christ, Krishna, Mahavir, Buddha. They are talking about the reality. They're talking about absolute. So you see, the all the thoughts are synchronized. They all are saying the same thing. Because they're talking about truth, it is same. They don't have to manipulate it and put it differently. Yes, the way to do it is different. That's religion, but that apart. But the actual core message is the same. Right? That's what they're saying. Same idea even Christ gives. So the notion of lacuna, void, is caused by the ignorance of the reality, of the fulfillment, of the absolute. Your real self is supreme, absolute. The rare one realizes the self attains a state of fulfillment. So he's talking about the self-realized masters. The word used is called as self-sufficiency. Self-realized masters are self-sufficient. They are not dependent on the world for happiness. They do not want anything from the world. They have, why they don't want? Because they have much more than what we can conceive of. As a human being, what we can conceive, they have reached beyond that perfection. They have reached the ultimate reality. So this is it doesn't give them that satisfaction. You can give them the kingdom, you can give them anything. They don't want it, you can keep it. So that's the attitude they carry with them because they are completely fulfilled, totally full. In the next class, we'll take it forward from there. In fact, that stomach, the empty example is here as well. It's a very beautiful idea. It's talking about desires. This is where we talk about, in fact, this topic in the next class we'll discuss in detail. This talks about anger. It talks about, proper people have problem with anger management. It talks about that concept of anger management. It talks about greed, very important, biggest problem in society. How we get into this problem of, as a society goes into inflation, into those financial losses, is because of greed. So we'll discuss in the next class. Thank you so much.